Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Today is April 14th. We had some bank earnings this morning that were actually really good, with Bank of America reporting, not Bank of America, sorry, JP Morgan, reporting 410 earnings per share versus 341 expected, so sizable beat there. And then Citigroup also ended up beating their earnings, but they're not up nearly as much. They ended up beating though at 219 earnings per share versus 165 expected. So pretty good beat for the banks, which are doing really well today. If we're looking at XLF, this is up sizably from 32.50 at close to currently at 32.90. If you do see a pullback for the banks, so that would probably spell some trouble because we're having a little bit of chaos on the rest of the market. Reason being because retail sales came in worse than expected. Why you clicked on this video. We had bad retail sales this morning, and if we go over to the economic calendar and do our little data read this morning, core retail sales was down 0.8% versus down 0.3% expected, and this was flat last month at 0%. The regular retail sales month over month was down 1% versus 0.4% expected. And last month, this was negative 0.2%. So a sizable decline in retail sales from February to March. So people are thinking that this could be recessionary. People are spending less money. Could also be because of, the bank failures from SVB and the tightening credit that we're seeing. And let's see what else. We also had a couple of Fed speakers this morning. Not really having too much impact on the market, it doesn't seem like, but that's the big news this morning, was that retail sales number coming in pretty rough. And then the year-over-year reading came in at 2.94% versus 5.9% expected, and this is down from 5.88% as of last year. So accounting for inflation at 5% as of the latest CPI report, people are buying less goods. So, seems recessionary, but what's weird is that even though this is recessionary, we're not really seeing that reflected in the bond market and in the dollar index. So the dollar index is actually going up. Let's see, currently up by 0.25% to 101.25. Granted, this has sold off significantly for the better part of like the last week, right? And for the last month, really. Down from 104, and the 10-year is actually at 3.5 again. So this has regained all of its losses that it made last week. So with this going up, you're going to weigh negatively on tech today. And right now, QQQ is at 317.50 versus a close at 319. And we managed to stay in that range at the 318.74 mark. So just chopping here between 318.74 and 314 for QQQ at the moment. So that is your morning update. Good morning, Kamala. Currently, I've got a couple trades on SPY, Iron Condor, and then a call credit spread. Assuming SPY below 412 with a credit spread. Not sure if that might be the case, depending on if we catch some support. We do have some support levels at 412.35 that we bounced on twice this morning so far. But we are going to have some resistance at this block of volume between 413 and 413.35. So be watching out for that, and then watch out whatever Q's does. If we do manage back to the top of the range, then you are putting on some risk there. Fed funds rate see an 82% chance of a quarter basis point rate hike in May as of right now. So that's why you're seeing a rise in the treasuries this morning. If we go over to the Fed or FOMC watch tool, this is at 80% as of right now. For the May meeting on May 3rd. So basically 25 basis points is in the bag, and that's why you're seeing the 10-year continuing to go up at 3.5 right now. I still think this is going to weigh negatively, mostly on tech. Banks could end up propping the market with their good earnings. JP Morgan is still going up about 6% as of right now. Citibank is up by 2.3%. So you might see the Dow going positive, currently at 340. But if we do see a pullback in the banks, then you might have some trouble there. All right, we're retesting 412.35, which was yesterday's close. We'll see if we reach that or not. QQQ is trying to push up here, but there seems to be more selling pressure, I'm assuming, based on the bond rates right now. We ended up catching the support at 316.67. So watch out for that again to the downside, and then to the upside, you're looking at the top of the range at 318.74. All right. Gaining a little bit of value from my iron condors for sure right now. Call credit spreads not so much. They're trading at 60 a piece since we're trading at my top strike price at 413. Still assuming it's going to come down to 412, but really depends on what we do with QQQ here, especially with that 319 level. I would say that the iron condor would be pretty good to hold. So it's a 410, 414 iron condor, assuming that it's going to be in that price range. I would say there's a really solid chance that we're not going to go below 410. It could happen if like all of the banks end up falling for some reason by the end of the day. But I would imagine that would prop the markets as of right now. But yeah, we're just kind of sticking around for QQQ right at the opening price at 317.50, and people are trying to make their decisions on buying or selling. And SPY's at 413 flat. We're about 50-50 on the poll today. Trade sideways and slightly down before the close, you think? Yeah, I could see that happening. You might end up... there seems to be a volume block right here at about 318, obviously. That round number, 318, people might sell at. So you might just trade maybe like 317 or so to 318 for QQQ. Burn some time. And then SPY between maybe 413, 413.35, I'm guessing. Oh, there goes my light, RIP. The Dow is actually negative 0.1%. IWM is still holding its gains, though, interesting enough. Surprised to see IWM leading the way after that retail sales. I would have thought that recessionary vibe that I caught off of it would have made the markets more risk off, especially with interest rates pulling back up. But IWM right now is loving it. All right, we're at 318 for QQQ now, so we might run into some resistance. Looking at closing these call credit spreads possibly here, depending on if we keep on pushing above 318 on Qs. We're above 413.35, so we could retest that 414 high. Let's see if I can get a call with a break even of 414. That might be an okay hedge for that position. SPY. Call option. 414, you're looking at buying the 412 call, which I already have, short with a call credit spread, so I can't manage that one, unfortunately. I could pay 300 for the 411 call, and the break even on that is 1390 as of right now. But yeah, we're definitely moving up for SPY. Just ended up going positive, and then for QQQ currently at 418.33. So it looks like things are headed up so far this morning. And I'm gonna hedge this call credit spread just in case we do end up managing to break that range that we've been in for so long. Let's see, 414 is the high here, so if we do end up breaking that, obviously the call credit spread would be a loser, but then this long call that I'm buying would be a winner. 280, 290 almost now. Oh man, it is rallying quick for sure. Oh, it already went to 3. Damn. These things move fast. All right. I'll wait on a pullback maybe. QQQ at 318.50. You're going to have some resistance at 318.74 is what I got. And then 319 or so. All right, these are already going for 310 now. Jesus, I did not get that quick enough. People are chasing it up though. All right. I don't think I want to pay more than $310 for it, but markets are sending this up back to the highs of yesterday. So let's keep watching. 414 on SPY now, new 2-day high. So we'll see if we retest and come back down or if we keep on flooding up. RSI is at 70, so definitely a lot of strength right now. Definitely a lot of strength in the market. All right. I think it might just be worth closing the call credit spread for right now and then keeping the iron condor. And then waiting to open that call at a lower price. Let's see, they're going for 77 at the ask. They're pretty expensive, but with this push up, seems pretty violent right now. And if you're going to go based on the trend yesterday, you had the same kind of pop higher and then rally for the rest of the day. So don't want to get caught in that again. QQQ's at 319 now, so almost breaking even again. All right, these are going for 75, 74, 75. SPY's pulling back a little bit from 414 so far. So maybe we could get a decent pullback to like 413.50, but that would be probably relying on QQQ seeing a significant pullback. Dow is still wavering between positive, negative, and IWM is actually pulling back here. It's up still 2.2%, but if if IWM pulls back, I would think that QQQ might see some pullback as well. We're at 413.75 for SPY now. So now that call option could be a little bit better. Let's see. Now you could buy a 412 call for 215, and then that 411 call I was looking at is back to 3. So I might use that as a hedge. I'd say 3 is an okay price. But let's see what we do at this resistance. Ooh. I mean, if I can get it cheaper, obviously I would want it cheaper, but we'll see how much I can get it. And it's back to 305. God dang it. I'm assuming the delta on this is pretty high. Since it's in the money, it's going to have a good delta. All right, I'm going to put the order in for 305, I guess. The ask is 315, so I'm not going to get filled there. Oh, I really should have pulled the trigger at $3. I'll do it at 310, I guess. I'll negotiate up a little bit. Extra $10 won't hurt. There we go. So that'll be my hedge for today. Just in case things just keep on rocketing up. Not a bad hedge, I would say. I want to post that to the trade alerts. Did not post that to the right place. Okay. New options alert. This is a day trade. Just bought a 313 SPY call at 310. Oh, expiring today, I should say, huh? And today is the 14th. So, I'll try to take advantage of the hype here. That momentum is definitely up 67 on the RSI. Looking at taking a loss on the 412, 413 call credit spread. Bought 12 of them at I think like 40 or 50 credit, somewhere around there. Now they're going for about 80 a piece. Try to get out at 75 if I can. But not sure if that'll be too promising here with this rally being so violent. Negotiate up to 78 maybe. Yeah. Looks like I might get filled at 78, so I'll do that and then keep the iron condor. Again, 410 to 414 is my expectations for the day. Closing options alert. All right, premium. Just cut losses for the SPY call credit spread expiring today. 414. At 78. I'm actually kind of surprised that I got out at 78 each, since it is so far above where I'm expecting it to be below. But yeah, this rally is going to 415. It's looking like Next one after that is going to be 417, and then you're going to have the 418.21 Fibonacci level. So if things really get heated up today, if we see a recovery for big tech again, then this can be pretty wild. That call option I got is already up by $53 at the moment. $57. Good morning, Guile. SPY will be pumped higher today. It's looking like it. If QQQ can manage new highs today too, it's crazy that QQQ would be up with the 10-year at 3.5, but markets really don't seem to really care about fundamentals or news anymore. It's just seemingly buying all the hype and continuing the trajectory up. Now, whether that lasts for a significant period of time, I would say no, but this has been doing well pretty much since the beginning of the year, right? Since January. It's been, well, we've had some dips, but it's been pretty much all up since March 10th after the bank failures. I think the only thing that might bring this down, well, I guess there's a few things that could bring it down. Earnings is next week. So you're looking at the big tech that's been leading the market up in this rally, with Apple at 166. They're reporting earnings actually on May 4th. What other companies do we have, though? Microsoft is reporting next week. 425. Actually, that's 2 weeks away, so we still have a little bit of ways. Let's see the other big names. Tesla is reporting actually next week on 419. And what other companies are there? I know Nvidia reports late. Yeah, they're not even scheduled to report yet, but that is estimated on 5/24, May 24th, so a month away, and then some. And what else? Not really sure. Confused market data is bearish, but Dixie is shooting up. Why? So it is recessionary, but the dollar has been in the trenches for like the past month, right? Not every day it's been down, but like it's been on a steady decline ever since it hit about 105. So it's not looking hot for the dollar index in like a long-term perspective. So people are assuming that it's going to continue to come down. Obviously, you do have some support roughly at that the bottom right here at 100.76. So could be part of why you're seeing the rally. Could be just technical analysis there. And then the 10-year also headed up. So whenever treasuries are going up, usually the dollar will gain some out of that too, because dollars are becoming more sparse. It's harder to borrow dollars at a higher interest rate. So if there's less dollars floating around, that makes the dollar more valuable. And if there's more dollars floating around like we've seen since 2020 and all the stimulus that we have, obviously the value of the dollar declines. Amazon. Yeah, I forgot about Amazon. I always forget about Amazon. They mentioned AI yesterday and they went up about 4%, but they're not reporting earnings until 4/27. I think Netflix is one of the first ones to report though, so they're actually reporting next week on 4/18. So Netflix and Tesla are going to be the big names that are reporting next week, and that will kind of shift maybe where we're headed next for all these tech names that have been leading this huge rally, right? If you're looking at QQQ, this has been the leader year to date, up from 260, and even after SVB, they didn't really come down that as much as SPY did. SPY started at 377, came down to 380, so basically flat after SVB, whereas QQQ, on the other hand, It started at 260, went down to we went above 415 for SPY just now. But started at 260, pulled back to 285. So what mostly led this rally is all the big names like Apple, up from 124 to 166, nearing its all-time highs. Nvidia especially, doubling in price from 140 to 280. And then Microsoft is up from 220 to 280. So all of these big tech names are what's leading this rally. I think it's like the top 20 stocks have managed to send the S&P up. I think it like 90% of the gains from the S&P 500 have come from the top 20 stocks in it. So there's just so much money that's pouring into these big caps. All right, that Iron Condor that I got going negative now, trading for 60. Luckily, I got it at a good price. Luckily, I got it at 51 cents a piece. So, not as worried about it. We're about to get Michigan economic report in about 8 minutes. So that could end up changing trajectory here. But right now, SPY's at 1490. QQQ's back to 320. So everything is looking good this morning. That call that I got is up by 27% as of right now, $86. Spent $300 on it, now it's going for $400 almost. Well, I guess I spent $310 on it, actually. But, yeah, we're about to get Michigan economic report in about 5 minutes. It could end up sending us back down, but trajectory is certainly up this morning. 73 on the RSI, so super bullish. QQQ managed to pull back a little bit from 320, but still at 319.86. Market keeps proving it can stay irrational longer than you could stay solvent. Yep. Call spreads were eaten alive yesterday. I wouldn't stop, and yeah. It is pretty brutal for the bears. The markets are totally irrational. I agree 100%. Going into a recession and earnings coming up in the next couple of weeks, which are going to come in lower than expected because demand is starting to get crushed. It makes no sense for the markets to keep going up, but that's where everybody wants it to go right now. So reality is going to kick in pretty rough, I think, in the next probably month or so, maybe by the end of April. Or maybe even, May, depending on how long we can perpetuate this up. All right. I think I might take profits on the SPY call, the SPY call that I bought right before the Michigan economic report. But the last couple of Michigan economic reports have been pretty good in terms of inflation expectations, and I think that's going to continue to come down. I think that overall inflation expectations are starting to finally wean off from their highs. I think at one point, 1 year inflation expectations was like 5%, and the latest reading was pretty low, at like, I think 3% or like 3.5%. Let's see. Inflation expectations, yeah, 3.5%, down from 3%, 3.6% before. So this is the main thing that I would be looking at, but the investing.com is saying that we should pay attention to consumer expectations and consumer sentiment. I would think that that would actually be negative. Last month, this was 59.2. And then the current conditions was 66.3. I think that current conditions is going to come down. I think that sentiment is going to come down. So if markets pay attention to that versus inflation expectations, I think we could pull back in recession fears after the Michigan economic report. So right now it's 9:57. We got about 3 more minutes until that report is out. We are trading outside of the range, so if the markets don't really care about news and they only care about technical analysis, we would continue to go up, I think. But not sure if I'm really willing to take that risk. I could even just let's see. I bought the 411 call. I could sell the 412 call for 320 when I bought the 311 or 411 call for 310. So I'd be making $15 guaranteed profit, and then I'll cap myself at $115 in profit after spending 300. It's about a 30% gain. Right now I'm up about 105, so I would still have a little bit of upside if I took that trade instead. All right, we're going for 410 at the bid. So I'd be taking about 100 on profit on that. Just really worried that the markets are not going to care about news and they're just going to keep on buying it up. And you're looking at 417, so that could gain another $200 in value, or even $300 in value if we retest the Fibonacci at 418.21. Never hurts to take profit though. But this is my hedge against the Iron Condor, assuming below 414. So, decisions. All right, I'm gonna get out at 415 here, if I can, hopefully. All right, there we go. Just got out at 415. Closing options alert, premium, just took profits on the SPY 311 or 411 call. Expiring today for 14, and I got them at 310. And I got it out at 415. I cannot type for the life of me right now. All right, now we're pulling back to 414.70. Michigan economic report just came out. So if we head on over there, SPY below 416 today. I mean, after this report, it's looking like initially we're selling off. But if we refresh the page and actually look into the report, slightly better than expected on Michigan economic, or the consumer expectations at 60.3 versus 59.2 and 60 expected. Consumer sentiment rose 63.5 versus 62 versus 62 expected. Inflation expectations, we don't have that report yet for some reason. And then current conditions 68.6 versus 67.3 expected, and up from 66.3. So the consumer is feeling pretty good right now, which is sending the yields up even further at 3.51, up from 3.5 or 3.49 before the report. So took profits on that 311 call. We did end up pulling back down to 414. Could manage back down, hopefully, with the iron condor that I have. Obviously, I do have some bias there to the downside. I opened these at 51, and now they're going for 60, so I'd be taking a small loss if I closed them now. And markets just ate that dip right back up, it seems like. Went down to 414.10, and now it's at 414.70. QQQ is back below 320 and back above. So that's headed higher. The Dow is negative at 0.06. Interesting. Usually the Dow does well whenever the 10-year and the dollar are up. Not today, though. And then IWM, the Russell 2000 small caps at 179 at the moment. Let's see, we're getting some more news on the Michigan Economic Report. Well, I thought we did. 1-year inflation expectations for... Wait a minute. That could be pretty rough, if that's right. .6% versus 3.5% last month. So that's very strange that would go up 1.1%. That's probably why you got the sell-off here. With inflation expectations going higher, that would be the reason why interest rates popped higher, with a 10-year at 3.9 to 3.505. Again, fundamentals don't seem to really matter so much, so this could keep going up. But if there's any point of a pivot today, I would think this might be it. SPY below 416. I wouldn't want to put my money on 416 just because markets are very violent and rallying. We saw yesterday we were up like 1.3%. 417 I might be okay with. But 416 you're cutting it pretty close. 417 is the top of the risk range, so you do have a little bit of buffer there, and then you would also have to pass up the Fibonacci at 418.21 for the max loss. So, but yeah, again, if there's any pivot point, I would think that this would be it, but no guarantee of it for sure. $417, $418 call credit spread right now is only going for 13 cents a credit, so not really worth the risk reward in my opinion. To risk 90 to make 10, it's awful. Greatest bank earnings of all time. It was pretty good. I mean, 410 versus 341 expected on JP Morgan. That's like a more than 20%, right? Let's see, 410 over 341. Well, that's exactly 20%. That's crazy. Yeah. Definitely good bank earnings. All right. Now we're pulling back for SPY a little bit, down to 414 again. QQQ couldn't hold 320. So we'll see if we end up pulling back here with the rates going up again, or if the markets just brush it off. Michigan Economic Report, yeah. All right, those iron condors I got are up to break even, a little bit better than break even right now. Currently trading at 49. I opened them at 51. I guess I timed the top perfectly. Yeah, just based on that Michigan Economic Report, I didn't want to hold, and the risk of that was too high for me. So not really timing the market, but just looking at what events are coming up, rather. Watch everybody start buying puts and sell this off to 410. Just to spite me for closing my call credit spread at 412. That would be an entertaining outcome. So frustrating trying to get my orders filled without giving some back. Yeah, for sure. The markets are just so volatile in both directions, and it just makes getting in and out of your trade that much harder. Like, you're just going to have to negotiate up, and it's ridiculous. Like, the intraday volatility is just wild. But then, because of the intraday volatility, we don't get any, like, major moves in either direction in the long term, because we just go up 1%, drop 0.5%, go up like 2%, drop 1.5%, and just barely manage to either move up or move down. It's a very, very frustrating market, but you got to take advantage of, I would say momentum is definitely a play. Now the momentum is going down. It's by 413 now. Iron Condor I got is up 130 now. These are going for 34. I bought them at, or I opened a credit of 51. Probably going to retest 412.35 again. Man, that is a huge candle. Oh my god. 415 to 413 in 5 minutes. This market is brutal. QQQ is down 0.2% now. IWM still at 178. IWM is still green. That's crazy. That is nutty. Got to trade with the market every week is what I've learned. Yeah. You don't want to fight the crowd. You don't want to fight the Fed. You have to find a fine balance between that, and it's very difficult. Someone's going to get hurt. Yeah, someone gets hurt every day in this market for sure. It's been me for the last 2 weeks. With the markets just perpetually going up and taking on all the bearish trades. But I'm going to try to start taking advantage of that momentum trades like I did with the SPY call this morning and just do like long calls or long puts depending on which direction we're going. Thinking about opening a put now. Let's see, with like a either 412 or let's see, SPY puts. They're probably going to be expensive now because we dropped so much so quickly, and everybody's going to be buying into them. But 414 put is going for 150 right now with a break even of 412.50. If I want to break even to 412, I'm looking at buying the 413 put, currently trading at 98 cents. Thank you. In any event, do you ever buy options or do I just stick to selling? Well, I would say buying options would be good for like zero data expiration or short expirations and chasing momentum. I mostly use spread options just because you have a defined risk reward. But, you know, if we catch 1.3% up in a day and you're using call credit spreads or put credit spreads, you're capping your profits. Where if you just bought a regular call, you could have made a shit ton of money yesterday. I think that QQQ calls, some of them were up by something along the lines of like 300% just in a day. So I would say if you want to chase momentum, daily momentum, then zero data expiration calls, puts, obviously don't risk more than you're okay with losing, and monitor if the option could go out of the money. But I would say that's your chance to buy calls and puts. And then I would say it's better to use spread options on like a longer time frame, like at least a couple of days, depending on what data is coming out and if you can anticipate what the move on that data is going to be. But lately, judging the data has been freaking impossible, even for me, somebody that studies it all day long, because nothing is making sense. Like, you would have thought that retail sales coming in lower would have sent the dollar down in anticipation of a recession. The 10-year should have came down with people buying into bonds, but that's not what you got. Instead, people are selling out of bonds right now with the TLT down 0.5%. Granted, you know, TLT has been having a pretty good run up to 107. So that could be part of the pullback. But you would think that the knee-jerk reaction to that would have been people buying into bonds rather than selling out of them. Oh, need to watch earnings. Yeah, let me pull that up. So what I do, it's not really like revolutionary or anything. I look at past earnings. I'll look at a quarter ago, a year ago, and then I'll look at the past 2 years of earnings and take the average of it. Then I'll compare that to what I just got a news. Leak suspect appears federal court in Boston. That's not news to me. I don't care about that. Somebody leaking Pentagon data. Don't think that's really important to the market. But I'll take the average earnings for the past couple of years, see what industry they're in, and if that industry has been doing really well over the last couple of years. Obviously, tech hasn't been. So if their average is above what Wall Street is expecting, then they're probably going to do worse. I keep losing my mouse. God dang it. But let me find that video that I made. And I might release a new one. But I think my technique is the same that I outlined in this video. I might just make a new and updated one because this was way back in January. So, old stuff. Let's see. Citigroup was the one that I wanted to trade today. I was thinking that they would actually miss their earnings. Obviously, they didn't. And I was going to take a trade assuming that they would go, let's see, Let me go to my notes for the weekend. These SPY 413 puts are looking juicy, but we're not getting much trading action right now. We're kind of freezing up at 413.25 or so. But yeah, my expectations was Citi would actually miss on the earnings, and I thought that they would go below 43. Obviously, I would have taken max loss on that with it trading at 49 right now. But they ended up beating their earnings at 219 versus 165 expected, and their revenue ended up coming in at let's see if I can find it. 21 something billion. $21.4 billion. And the expectations was 20.08. So they had a double beat earnings revenue, which meant that their stock, I anticipated that their stock would be above 47. So that's what it's trading at right now. It is at 48.75. So that trade would have worked out. But I was too negative on bank earnings, thinking that they're not seeing as much demand for housing as of lately. But somehow they managed to post really good profits for this quarter. All right. Yeah, SPY is just kind of freezing up here at 413.25. QQQ is going a little bit higher, but kind of freezing up at 318.75 or so. Momentum is still positive for QQQ with 51 RSI. So maybe I can take the put option after we go below 50 here. Obviously, I'm trading SPY, but looking at QQQ is my indicator on whether we're going to keep selling off or if we're going to keep going up, because most of the rally this morning was led by the big names, Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, etc. Oh man, we just dropped to 412.80 for SPY, so yeah, things are going south pretty quick already. So now I'm gonna pay like 120. I'm hoping to get them for 115 is what I was looking at, but doesn't seem too promising right now. And this will be a hedge against my Iron Condor too. If SPY really starts to tank here, and if we're seeing 410 by the end of the day, that would be a good trade. But yeah, we're at 412.50 already, so that put option has already gained a shit ton of value so quick. Yeah, they're already going for 140. I was looking at picking them up for 115. So they're already up like 20%. Crazy, crazy market. I might be willing to pay 120 for them, but I don't want to pay anything more. So I'll have an order for 120 on the 413 puts. But anything higher, I don't think I'm willing to pay. My break even would be 411.80. So we do manage below 412. Then that would be good sell off to take advantage of. All right, they're going for 120 now. Okay. I got them for 116 actually. Oh, 313. My bad. New options alert. Premium day trade. Just opened a new 413 SPY put expiring today, which is the 14th. And I got them at a little bit cheaper than what I put in at 216 each. QQQ is down 0.3% now. Yeah. All right, we're at 412.69, so we're pulling up at that 412.35 resist or support, I should say. We'll see if we end up cracking below or no. We're at 412.58, so edging very close. And QQQ just lost 318 support. So yeah, just taking advantage of momentum right now. With QQQ now down 0.4%. Even the Dow has been down all morning, 0.5% now. So SPY likely to come back. Really wish I had held on to my call credit spreads, assuming SPY below 412, but you win some, you lose some. And now I want to maybe consider closing out of my iron condors. Currently going for 37. I feel like that's a bit expensive considering that it's right in the middle of my range, 410 to 414. I don't think I want to negotiate that high. I would say 30 would be a reasonable price, but 36, it's a no-go for me. It's a no-go for me, man. Oof. Yeah, that was violent both ways. The puts that I got are already up 20%, $60 a piece, or $60 total, I should say. You might have some support around 317 for QQQ, so watch out for that. And then again, that 412.35 mark seems to be a little bit sticky for SPY. You do have some more volume at about 317.50 that you might catch some supports on for QQQ too. So watch out for 317.50, next level 317, and then this 316.67 mark that it bounced on in the pre-market. Gotta love momentum trading. Can be pretty lucrative. Obviously, I could also lose the $200 that I spent for these options, but right now it's up by 70. So nice little profit here. Nice little day trading profits. SPY at 412.25, so it's slipped below 412.36. QQQ testing 317.50 right now. So yeah, that Michigan economic report was not what the markets expected. They did not like it trading at those highs. All right, 412.19 for SPY now. All right, back above 412.35. On SPY, looks like we caught the bounce at 317.50 on Qs. So momentum turns around now because of technical analysis and finding that support. This put option might be worth getting out of. Still negative or below 50 on the RSI, so still bearish at the moment. SPY more bearish at 39 RSI and QQQ at 45. So relative strength is higher for QQQ right now compared to SPY. Pulling back to 318 almost for QQQ now. So let's watch how this shakes out at 318 if we sell off below or if we can pump higher. There's lots of volume here. In this area at 317.50 down to 317. So yeah, you could get some buyers around this range, I think. Just based on the volume where people have been buying the last couple of days. Back to 317.50. Probably going to trade in that range, I bet. 317.50 to 318 for a while. We had so much momentum in both directions, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we just kind of catch a balance here, especially with so much volume in this area. A lot of back and forth between traders like we got before. Like yesterday. Yesterday we were trading between 316.67 and 317.35 for a while. So that was where a lot of the volume came in. All right, just below 317.50 now. Exit the put and re-enter it. You can always do that. Another way you can do it is selling the next out of the money put. So what I could do is I could sell the 412 put, which is going for $1 now after I bought the other ones for 120, I think. 116. So what I would do there is I'd be reducing my risk to just $30. And if SPY is below 411, which is the next strike price down. Oh, wait, I bought the 413. So the next strike price down would be 412. So if it's below 412, I'll turn 35 into 200. So I reduce my risk. Obviously, I'm limiting my profit. But max profit would be 200 minus the about 30 I'm paying for it. So 170 if SPY is below my 412 mark that I'm looking for. Now they're going for 85. I think that's the move I want to make this morning. Just going to wait on a little bit more of a pullback. Hopefully these can manage up. What's the delta on them is 41. So in order for them to be 20 cents higher, it needs to go down about 50 cents for SPY. Currently at 412.50. Nice to see the market react properly, at least. Yeah, 'tis nice. Haven't seen the market react properly to news in a while. But like you just get a mixed bag with everything. Like the 10-year going up on bad news was unusual. Dollar index going up on recessionary news, unusual. Gold going down on recessionary news, unusual. But the markets are just all over the place. All right, these are going for 85 a piece now, so they're gaining a little bit of value here. With SPY at 412.35 again, right at that support resistance level, price level. I'm just not too certain on SPY below 412 today. So that's why I want to reduce my risk by selling the 412 put against my 413 that I bought. But they're going for almost $1 now, so I think I'm going to manage this here. $1 a piece. All right. Oh, they're going for a little bit better. Might get 105. They just dropped already. Damn. They dropped quick. They dropped quick there. Yeah. I'm going to put in my price for $1 though. There we go. So now I'm only risking 32 in order to make 200 if SPY is below 412 by the end of the day. All right. New options alert. Premium members. This is a day trade. Just sold a 412 SPY put expiring today. 414 at 1 each. So now I reduce my risk down to $32. So the most I can lose if SPY is above 412 or 413, I should say, by the end of the day is only 32. And my max profit again, if we're below 412, would be 200 or 200 minus my 32 in risk. So $68 or $168. JP Morgan below 132. Really? JP Morgan is going south. Yeah, I was thinking if the banks end up losing their gains, then wait, the bank JP Morgan's above 138 right now. What you talking about? Oh, you're assuming that JP Morgan would be below 132. Yeah, that wouldn't be a great trade right now. All right, let's check in on the Iron Condor that I got for SPY. That one ought to be doing really well. It's still going for 32 cents a piece. Damn. The time value just ain't really going away too fast. I wish that I had gone wider with my strike prices like 409, 415 instead. That way, those options would have lost value quicker, but I wanted that higher credit at 51 cents. I think if I went $1 wider, I probably would have got like 40 cents. So wasn't really worth it to me. 59% are still saying SPY green today. Interesting. With us going negative 0.3% for SPY right now. QQQ's down to 317.30 or 40, 50. So it looks like we're getting a little bit of support here. Again, like I was talking about, there's a lot of volume in this range from 317 to 317.50. So you could get some either flat price action or you could get some support at these price levels down here. Momentum is definitely slowing down after coming down 80 to 40 RSI in a matter of, like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. But now it's sticking at 42. I would love if we burned time at 412 for SPY, though. That would be perfect for my Iron Condor. But momentum doesn't seem too promising here for us to stick around. The only thing that looks promising right now is all the support at 317 to 315, or 317 to 317.50 for QQQ, which is down 0.5% now. IWM is down by 0.5%, so that's slipping. The put debit spreads that I opened for IWM are actually have some value to them. Shockingly. I was assuming that it would go all the way down to 175 by the end of this week. I opened that a few days ago when it was trading at 177.65 or something like that. I don't know about $1.50 down though. That would be pretty hard to manage for IWM with our recent rallies that we've been seeing. All right, looks like we're getting some support for IWM and QQQ at 317.64 now. So it looks like momentum might have finally caved in. Like I said, a lot of volume between 317.50 and 317. So I could see us trading in this range for a little while here. Thanks for all the intel. Thank you for being here, Shark. Why are the markets down? Just got here. The Michigan Economic Report came out at 10 a.m. And the inflation expectations, the one-year inflation expectations from the consumer was 4.5% versus 3.5% last time, or like 4.3. Let me double check the numbers. I don't want to give y'all inaccurate info. But yeah, one-year inflation expectations was 4.6% actually, versus 3.5% as of last, or 3.6% as of last month. And 3.5% expected. So a huge jump in inflation expectations. So the consumer is their mind is being entrenched with this inflation narrative, which means that interest rates are headed up with the 10-year at 3.5, although it started at 3.5%, but that kind of confirms why the rates might be going higher in order to get rid of inflation. And you're having the probably like an 80-90% chance of 25 basis points for the May meeting on May 3rd. Looking at this, currently stands at 83%. So 25 basis points for the May meeting is guaranteed at this point. Unless, there's more data that comes out that shows that the economy is weakening faster than expected. In that case, then the rate odds would come down. Maybe be closer to 50-50, but right now it's at 83%. So very solid chance of a pause or 25 basis points rate hike at the next meeting instead of the pause is what the markets wanted. Yeah, no problem, Fishman. Bear hunting today for the next week's bull market with banks higher. Could be, my guess is the downside for next week though, with Netflix, Tesla reporting earnings, with Tesla reducing their prices in January. I think that it's going to weigh negatively on them. I think that it's going to be a hit to their margins, probably a hit to their earnings per share. Now I'm sure, with Tesla, there's still some chance that they could manage to do a higher earnings per share, but how much did they drop prices, actually? They dropped prices, I think, they were 65,000, right, for the... Oh, jeez. Why is this way over here? Oh, math. Okay. So they were 65,000 before, and then they dropped the prices to 54,000 for the Model Y. So 54 over 65. They ended up dropping prices by 17%. And then if we look at the amount of vehicles that they sold quarter to quarter, let's see. Tesla Q1 sales or production report. Production. Let's see. Production and deliveries was 422,000 here versus Tesla Q4 2022 deliveries was 405,000. So they ended up only delivering 420 over 405, 4% more cars, but they dropped their margins by 17%. So the odds of them having another record quarter now will be pretty low, and that would be a huge disappointment for Tesla because basically every single earnings report has been beat after beat after beat, and a record after record. But now if they're not able to maintain that, that could be pretty troublesome for the stock. Now this might already be priced in. It's trading at 183. If you compare that to like Apple, Nvidia, those are trading at like yearly highs, whereas Tesla's yearly high was 364. It's trading at 183, but I think that the knee-jerk reaction to a earnings report that's not better than last quarter would be a down move. So Tesla would probably come down. Another stock that's reporting is Netflix next week. This one's almost close to its yearly high too. So the risk is to the downside here. Obviously, I don't know what Netflix earnings would be, but if this comes in worse than expectations, there's a long way for this to pull back. So if tech earnings is sour next week with Nvidia, Tesla, then the rest of tech might start to sell off. And what's been leading the rally so far this year? It's been big tech names. So I think that we're more likely to see a pullback next week than we are to see a rally, is my guess. Any idea how I would trade Tesla? I kind of want to do a call credit spread, assuming below 200. I feel like that's an obvious trade. But since it's so obvious, it's trading at 183, 185, or whatever right now, you're probably not going to get a good credit for it. Any earnings to trade on Monday? Let me see. I haven't seen the earnings calendar for next week as of yet. So let me check. UNH reported earnings today. But next Monday is the 17th. You have Charles Schwab reporting earnings. They were hit pretty hard after the SVB meltdown. They were actually one of the worst hit banks. So Schwab didn't really get much love out of the rally for JP Morgan and Citi. They're still down 1% even today after good bank earnings. I feel like Schwab just doesn't get enough love. So I would feel like Schwab would probably be positive earnings. The expected earnings per share, let's see. Earnings Whispers we'll go to. Schwab SCHW. Yeah, momentum is definitely slowing down for SPY in QQQ. But earnings per share is expected at 90 cents. Last quarter was 107. A year ago, they were doing 77 cent earnings per share. Year over year would be pretty hard to do that much better. And then looking at the past couple of years of earnings, it's kind of hard to do the average with the way that this is written out. Let me see. We'll go to Schwab earnings history. Yeah, SPY ended up bouncing. Seems like 412.70 right now. QQQ back to 318 almost. So let's watch this in the meantime while we calculate these earnings. Schwab earnings history. I usually go to, well, where is it at? Marketbeat.com is my favorite because they list it out very easy to read. All right. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 earnings. So usually I'll take the last 2 years of earnings, which started with 84, 70, 84 again, 86, 77, 97, 110, 107. So 715 total earnings per share for the last 8 quarters averages out to 89 cent earnings per share. Let me take this down in my notes, actually. That way I don't forget. And that way I can reference it for this weekend's video. New, please. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, Notion isn't working for me right now, so that's convenient. I'll just take it down in my notes here. All right. This is Schwab, EPS, revenue. All right, average earnings per share, 89 cents. And And then revenue over the past 8 quarters has been 472, 453, 457, 471, 467, 509, 5.5, and 5.5. So they ended up stalling on revenue the last couple of quarters, but they've been rising for like the last couple of years, obviously. 39.29 total revenue. 39.29 over 8 would be an average of 491 billion in revenue. $4.91 billion historical. And then I'll compare that to last year and last quarter. Which was 107 and 77 cents. 107 and 77. And revenue was 550 and 467. 550 and 467 billion, of course. All right, and then back to earnings whispers for them. They expected for Schwab is 90 cents and 521 billion in revenue. 50, 521. So they're expecting a pullback in revenue. I would think that they might end up beating their revenue just because it has been going up for the past year, but then stalling out the last couple of quarters. I would think that it would probably come in above estimates, but below last quarter. So that would be a beat on revenue. And then for earnings per share at 50 cents, that would be a 50% drop from last quarter. So I think they're going to beat earnings, beat revenue. So the last step would be drawing some price levels that we could go above, below. For Schwab, we're looking at the yearly chart. You got some resistance at about 52, so that would be an obvious place to go above if they had a good earnings. Let's see, it's kind of hard to see with this volume profile tool, so let me take that off here. It's kind of hard to see support and resistance levels at all because it hasn't been at these levels all year. But there's a huge gap at 57. So they have a superb, the best earnings that you've ever seen, then they could go to 57. That would be unexpected, but they could. And then a reasonable price target on Schwab, maybe. I think the most reasonable would be 52 as of right now. And then possibly 55 would be my guess. It's trading at 51 right now, so it would have to go up like 10%. But looking at, say, JP Morgan, this one's up by 7%. So seeing Schwab up 10% wouldn't be really surprising if they had that good earnings that I'm expecting. SPY's below 412 now at 411.75. So yeah, that's how I trade Schwab. Depending on where we end today, obviously. If we end lower at like 50, then I would probably take the 52 assumption. But if we end up maybe going to like 52 by the end of the day, then I would be okay with saying that we could be above 55 after the earnings. Do I trade VIX futures at all? I don't trade any futures personally. I wish I could trade VIX because, you know, at this $18 level, it seems like an obvious long position. But Robinhood doesn't allow any VIX trading. You can only trade UVIXI, unfortunately. So once I move some of my money over to Aries, then I'll be able to trade VIX, and pretty much any other broker. I think you can trade VIX. But VIX futures, haven't really gotten into futures at all. But it's at 19 right now, almost 1870, coming off that low at about 18. So the futures are expecting the VIX to go up higher than where it's at. Granted, we are at 1770, which is some of the lowest prices that we've seen for the past year of trading. So if we do have, say, good tech earnings next week somehow with Tesla and Netflix, then maybe you could see the VIX finally slipping below that 17 mark. But the way that I would trade the VIX, I would probably just want to keep selling puts at like 18 and then wait for the pop in the VIX maybe above like 22 and start selling calls on it. Running the wheel strategy on the VIX. Because it just mean reverts. It goes from, 20 to 30 for the past year of trading. Obviously, the long term, the range has been lower. Between like 16 to 20. But given that we're going into a recession, I don't think that that would be reasonable to assume that VIX would be so low. But I guess back in 2018, 2019, we were kind of trading in those low range, 13 to 19. Interesting enough. And that's when we were raising rates and there was a fear of recession back then. Mostly just because equities were falling, but it was actually 2018 where we peaked for VIX at 35. But yeah, more support for QQQ. Again at 317.50 to 317. Lots of people buying in there. Which is just eating away time for my Iron Condor beautifully. Hopefully we don't get a shift in momentum, but it's possible. We're at 46 for the RSI, so we are getting close to 50, but not quite there. What material do I use to trade as a do I use to improve as a trader, or am I just going off of experience? Mostly just experience, just trading every single day. I was starting to read some technical analysis book, Technical Analysis A to Z. I forget who the author for it was. Started reading that, learned a couple pieces from it in the first like 10 pages, but didn't continue reading it. Might continue that later on just to kind of get the hang of things whenever volatility is so low like right now and there's not that much trading volume. Markets seem to really hone in on technical analysis, so might be a pretty useful book for recent trading. But mostly I am a fundamental trader or trading on news, things like that. So the last couple of weeks of trading, the last few weeks, has kind of been out of my wheelhouse with everybody so focused on the technicals. So if I can learn technical analysis, probably be a better trader. So maybe I can focus on that here in the next month or couple of months. I'm up $70 for the $36 I spent for the spreads that I open. Makeshift spreads, but spreads nonetheless. So I doubled my money there. Still think that there's a chance we end up below 412, but there seems to be a lot of support for QQQ and SPY at these levels, so not sure if it's super promising. QQQ is burning time between 317.20 at the lows and like 318. So we continue to see this price action. We're not going to be moving much of anywhere. So watch for 318 towards the top. Maybe going bullish at 50 RSI. That might be my cue to get out for SPY, depending on where this trend starts to go after this consolidation we're getting. It's a pretty wide consolidation, though, compared to previously. The consolidation was like 70 cents, and this one is about almost $1. So pretty volatile for consolidation. SPY's below 412 though. Dow is bleeding the most, 0.6%. Actually, IWM is bleeding the most, down 0.7%. Wow, that's interesting. Now things are getting really interesting with IWM. But right now I feel like QQQ is what's holding the markets up with that 317.50 and that 317 support. So I think we got to get a crack below those numbers before we get a sell-off for the market. There's some support around 177 for IWM right now, and then that 177.14 mark doesn't seem like we can hold above right now. All right. Well, if momentum starts to shift down, I'm going to get out of these iron condors for SPY. Right now they're going for 28, so I feel like I'm finally getting a half decent price for them. Still feel like I should get more, but markets don't care what I want. So watch for 317 down here. Currently at 317.40. How did that call for QQQ work out? Got caught in the beginning of today's rally. I bought a SPY call, not a QQQ call, if that's what you're talking about. QQQ obviously went up more, but I took $100 of profit for the SPY call, and then I entered a put after we got that Michigan economic report and the momentum shifted down. So just kind of following momentum right now. And it's been working pretty well so far this morning. Got to fill up your chart with a bazillion indicators and drawings than a professional you'll be. Yeah. What's that one meme? Technical analysis meme. Yeah, if your charts don't look like this, then you're not a professional. It's funny, though, because most professionals don't use a lot of technical analysis. Astrology for men. That's what it is. But I mean, it can tell you like what momentum is. Like RSI below 50 tells you that today's bearish. If you couldn't already tell from the huge sell-off, and then looking at price levels, obviously where people are buying and selling at with the volume profile can be pretty handy. And that just gives you, again, where people have been buying and selling at. So if you're assuming that people are either going to take profits or cut losses, then you would be focused on those price levels where the most amount of volume was coming in, which has been 317 to 318 for QQQ. So that's why you're getting caught in this range right now. All right. Those iron condors, man, they're tempting to take profits on, but this momentum is just not picking them direction yet. I could always hedge with a QQQ call back to 319 maybe. But below 50 RSI, I don't think I want to take that trade right now. And until we crack maybe 318, I wouldn't make that call. All right, back below 412 for SPY. IWM still leading the downside, 0.75% now. Brutal sell-off for IWM. Dow also down 0.6. But QQQ just cannot go below 317 yet. All right, these iron condors are getting to a good price for me. Down to 29 cents, 28 cents at the ask. Thinking about taking profit at 25 cents if we keep trading flat on Qs. But yeah, these candles have just been going back and forth between these price levels at 317 and 318. Looks like it might break here, maybe. Either that or top out again. SPY's at 412.25. IWM is recovering a little bit off the lows, and Dow is recovering off the lows too. We're at 49 RSI, so we're getting close. Getting very, very close. So I might close my SPY puts that I open 412, 413. Currently at a profit of like $70 after spending like 35 on it. It's not a huge profit, but let's see. Today's expiration. Sell Buy. But now we're above 318 for QQQ. So things are starting to look a little bit bullish here. I think I'm done chasing momentum though. So I don't think I want that 319 call or whatever. I'd rather just be done for the day. Going for 50 a pop. And yeah, QQQ just broke out. There we go. Out of that trade now. Closing options alert. Premium members just took profits on the 413 and 412. SPY puts expiring today at 50 each. Let's see. Originally paid 32 for both and closed for 100 credit. So nice little profit there. And now we watch the Iron Condor. Take your profit and suddenly it changes quick. Yeah, typically what happens. I think Tesla's earnings will shake the markets pretty decently. I think so, yeah. I think that tech, it's been on its rally for since the beginning of the year. And if Tesla, the big one, ends up missing their earnings, which seems pretty likely after the price cuts and not delivering that many vehicles, I would say that there's a good chance of drop for tech next week. IWM really isn't catching any love, though. Interesting enough. QQQ is getting the love, but IWM not feeling it. So I guess I still do have some ammo to the downside on IWM with the put debit spread. So if things keep on crashing, if we see IWM at 176, still got profits to make there. But QQQ is still holding 318. So drop for SPY and tech doesn't seem too likely at these prices right now. But yeah, I think that's all the trades that I got for y'all today. I'm going to close my Iron Condors hopefully soon. Right now they're going for 26. I want to close them at 25 a piece. I don't think that we're going to retest 414 by the end of the day. I feel like that's out of the cards unless we just get a huge rally again for QQQ here. So I'll probably set some alerts. Maybe if we go 318.74 again for QQQ, at or above there. And then watching IWM to the downside. If we go below 176, I want to get a notification there. And for SPY, maybe if we go to a new daily low for 1150, I'm guessing I'll probably get out of the Iron Condors. And then for the downside on QQQ, I would want to see it below 317 before I call that bearish, just because of all the volume that came in around those price levels for the last couple of days. So watch out for these price levels. 318.75 for the upside on Qs, 317 for the downside on Qs, 311.50 for the downside on SPY. Maybe if it recovers above 413.35, I'm getting an alert there. And that's about it for today. And I will catch y'all on Monday at 9:30. See everybody.